From what Nicholas got as feedback, we've been trying to improve to ensure that when these young people come with a hope, with aspirations, with fire in the belly. I know how organizations work. You come, you're young, you believe you can conquer the world, and then you find this guy. When you talk to them, they don't even look at you, and then when they finally look at you, it's that condescending, dismissive attitude. And one word sends you recoiling back into your corner. That's the real life. But having been young once, those are the moments that should shape you. You guys are talking about the number of interviews you went through. The best samurai swords, if you can go and check, are forged from a solid block of metal. But what you need to find out is what it takes for that sword to become that almost unbreakable blade. It's the number of times it has to be folded as it's being forged. It's the number of times it is heated, folded, until it is a blade made of several layers of very thin sheet metal. But when put together, they become the strongest blade you can get. So the number of times you went through interviews, the length of months, weeks, or whatever, some of you are saying it was almost a year, that you had to wait. That should signify how strong you should become, because nothing good comes easy. And I know we are trying to go into a space of business transformation. I know we give it the term convergence. I find convergence a bit light in describing what it truly is. The whole convergence aspect is about business transformation. And I was just thinking, when I was employed, which is around the time Daktari here was joining Standard, you can see how fate brings people together, yeah? I was joining a completely different industry, he was joining Standard, and today we are here together. I remember it was September of 1999. The fastest way of communicating those days, you had things like telex. I remember there's something that called the facsimile, and because it was a bit of a mouthful, we used to call it the fax. And those were sort of cutting-edge technologies of communication, because the alternative was to actually go to the post office, buy a stamp, lick it, stick it, post it. And then you'd only guess if it was received or it got lost somewhere in the system. The other alternative was to actually send a human being who could at least go with a delivery book, bring it back and say, yes, I delivered. How things have changed. Those days, if something happened, and especially where I come from, and any unfortunate demise of a relative had to be accompanied by quick communication, the fastest way of communicating was something called the telegram. And because you are charged per letter, people had to be very brief. And I remember when I was doing my English studies, we used to be taught how to write telegrams. So-and-so dead, stop. So you had to be brief enough, avoid unnecessary punctuation, but choose the words that conveyed the message without distorting the meaning. And there's a book, it's I think by Lynn Strauss, it's called Eat, Shoots, and Lives. It's a good book for grammar and all that. If you have to really understand the essence of grammar when you're writing. And it's delivered in a very humorous way. And in one of the pages, they talk about mistakes during the telegram era that changed the course of history because the meaning was different. So you had to understand that where you put the punctuation could change the meaning and could change context. Those were the days, you can imagine. Today, actually, punctuation is seen as a waste of energy. Look at how people communicate, WhatsApp, SMS. I still struggle up to date to write half sentences or half words or abbreviations, even when I'm limited to 140 characters. I struggle because I was taught to provide meaning in a certain context. However, I have to admit maybe I'm the fading generation. You guys are coming in, but the question is, if you've grown up writing, there's a way young people write their texts and WhatsApp and everything. You know, X replaces S or something like that and stuff like that. But who are you writing to? Who's your audience? Who's the reader? The dean stood here, and I agree with him. Half the time, you try to read beyond the first paragraph. At least I try better than him. I go beyond the headline. I try and go into the first and second paragraph. And you find yourself looking for that word that will make you want to continue reading. And most of the time, you don't find it. So you become a browser, and before you know it, you don't enjoy what you're reading. You are the generation that has to learn to start investing in writing for people to read. Because what has been happening over time, and I tried to understand this problem because when you are in charge of a media house, the products become your priority. Where is the problem? Maybe the quality of editing has gone down, right? Now, if the quality of editing has gone down, how do we start solving the whole chain? And I believe that the solution for me has to start with the writing. The person who takes that pen, who sits in front of that computer, whatever tool you choose, and starts writing. Because a good writer gives the editor an easier job. But you cannot become a good writer if you don't read. I think that one I can stand and debate any day. In my younger days, I used to write a lot, but my writing was only supported by the amount of reading I used to do. And as I slowed down on my reading, so did the quality of my writing slow down. I know that for a fact. To be a good writer, you must read a lot. You must be inquisitive. You must study different styles of writing. Remember, writing, there's no specific style. There are very different formats of writing. Everyone has their DNA of writing. And if you know it very well, you can always say, this person, this is their style, this is their style. Each of you will have their style. But don't be those journalists who are in a rush to bundle together words just because they are big, but don't make sense, and you think, I've done a good job. Be journalists who improve on the craft of writing.
Orlando Lyomu, Standard Group CEO, there speaking at an event of the Standard Group in partnership with Aga Khan University, is launching the Standard Media 2019-2020 Academy.